Am I on? Is there anybody out there? It's loud on this side. Is anyone over here? Oh, these guys are doing better than these guys. Did you notice that? Well, I tell you what, I am excited to be here. And you saw a little video on my wife and I. Oh, the lights are coming back on. Wonderful. Oh, you really are there. This is great. Yes. I thought it was just a loudspeaker they had in the back. No. This is my wife. And as you can tell, God has done an incredible miracle in her life. And she's totally and completely healed. And He's done the same miracle in my life. My wife and I have many, many exciting things to share with you between now and Sunday. And we believe that this is going to be a very special time for us and for you. This is our second visit to South Africa, and you have a beautiful, beautiful country here. 3 people think it's beautiful, right over there. I saw them. They're waving to me. They're right there. I saw them. But there is so much excitement in the air right now. I was behind the curtain. You know, there was a television show a long time ago. It says, behind curtain number 1, behind curtain number 2, behind curtain number 3. And I'm thinking, I wonder which curtain we are. No. We heard the previous speakers, and they were so good and exciting. And we thought, what could we share tonight? But I believe that God has placed something specifically in my heart to share with you. My wife is going to share with you some things tomorrow. Let me just say this. You're probably wondering why Charlie invited us to come and speak to you. Why Charlie? No, I'm not going to take that chance. What's that? There's a line here, X. All right. Why Charlie invited us to come and speak to you, and why he kept it a big secret. The reason he kept it a big secret was he couldn't pronounce my name. That was the real reason. I mean, it's just amazing what he did. No, I'm kidding. There are 3 things that are really the reason, the tie that has brought us here, specifically to Bloemfontein to speak to you. And the first one is, of course, that I teach business people all over America and around the world on how to build successful businesses. Are there any business people in the room tonight? All right. We have in America something called the Fortune 500, which is some of the top corporations in America, and I teach some of them how to build successful businesses. One of them has had an 1,800% growth in 12 months. Anyone want to see an 1,800% growth in 12 months? All right, so I teach on business principles, and I'm going to be sharing some of those with you. The second tie, of course, which I will share with you, that came about because of a gentleman called Miles Monroe. Have you ever heard of Miles Monroe? Now, Dr. Miles Monroe is a good friend of ours, and I have done special conferences for him in the area of leadership and finances, and it was actually Miles that recommended to Charlie to invite me to come and share. So the first thing is I teach business people how to build successful businesses. The second thing is I happen to have been in a network marketing, multi-level marketing company, so I understand a lot of what you're going through, and in 5 years I was able to start a one-man distributorship, just like maybe you are tonight, and in a 5-year period we had sponsored 7,500 people, we had 26 offices, and we had done $300 million US worth of business in 5 years. That's about 21 million rand in 5 years. You think I might know a couple of things to share with you? Amen. That's the second thing, and the second reason why we're here. And let me tell you the third one. My wife, and she's going to share a lot more tomorrow with you. You saw in that video that she was blind, paralyzed, and crippled from the neck down. Her hands were twisted like this. She had up to 6 catatonic seizures a day until she had no feeling from the neck down. They thought it was a brain tumor. They thought it was a stroke. Well, they put 28 needles in her head and finally diagnosed multiple sclerosis, said that she would be a cripple all of her life. I took her home in the wheelchair. And I tell you what, we started to pray and we started to seek God on what would be the right thing for her healing. And I'm here to tell you, over a 2-year period, she got totally and completely healed, and it was all because of how God directed her on nutritional products. How many of you would like to know how she got healed? All right. Tomorrow, she's going to share all those nutritional products that healed her, and I'm telling you, it's one of the most incredible, miraculous testimonies you've ever heard in your life. Honey, would you like to say anything before I carry on? Oh, she is. All right.
My hair. First, I would like just to fix your microphone so everybody can hear you very well, okay?
Now you know why I take her with me everywhere I go.
You don't want to miss a thing he has to say, and I don't want you to miss it. It is just an honor and a privilege to come to South Africa and address a group of men and women who are movers and shakers. I'm looking here in
How do you know they're movers and shakers?
I know it because they're
Are there any movers and shakers in here?
I told you.
You're right.
You are people that look at life not the way it is, but you look at life the way it can be. You are people that have a dream. You are people that don't just take life the way it's handed to you. You look at life and you say, yes, I can change this. I take my life into my own hands. I do not blame anyone else for the way my life is. I will do something about what's going on in my life. It's an honor and a privilege. You saw the video. You saw how I was sick. I was in a bed of sickness. I could not turn over in my own bed. I had paralysis from my neck down. I would lay in that bed with a dream, and only a dream. I did not have a product. I did not have a company the way you do. But having a dream, I had to do a lot of the things that you have to do to facilitate what your dreams are in your life. And it's just an honor and a privilege. I will speak with you tomorrow. It's not my time, so I'm going to be quiet. And I will tell you also about the nutritional products that help me, which you have that product in your hands, and also teach you about dreams and what it's like to run a company with your spouse. It is very, very, very vital. One can put 1,000 to flight. 2 can put 10,000 to flight.
Oh, yes.
We will talk about that tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Isn't she wonderful? She's the love of my life. She's my wife. She's my girlfriend. She's my lover. And it was her birthday 2 days ago. Now, you can tell I'm a great salesman. Can't you tell that just by looking at my wife, right? I'm an awesome salesman. Look at what I got. All right. I have some things to share with you, specifically tonight. And really tonight what I want to do is share my story and really set the stage for what I believe God is going to do and teach us over the next 2 or 3 days. Now, you know, sometimes everybody look up at me. I'm a peculiar person. Everybody say, Nassir, you're strange, but we still love you. All right, now you've said it now. You can't take it back now, all right? So I may say some things and I may bring God into the picture. And that's just because you understand that if you came so close to death like I did, you could get excited if the sun comes up. Can I hear yes? Yes. All right. So I may say a few things, but excuse me, I'm just a peculiar person and that's just the way I am. Let me share with you my personal story. I was brought up in my father's family came from Egypt. My mother's family came from India. I was brought up in England, and if that isn't confusing enough, we moved to Canada. And then I met my wife. Her father came from Greece, who met her mother who came from Switzerland. They were on the boat to Canada. She was born in Canada and lived in all 3 countries. And if you think we're confused, you ought to see our kids. Where are you from, son? Everywhere, everywhere. And I was brought up in London, England, and I heard that America was the land of milk and honey, so I couldn't wait to get on a plane and get over to America. And I was going to tell you that I got to America. I never did find the milk and the honey, but that's not true. 10 years ago, I married my honey. I did get my honey. All right. So I got excited about joining the corporate world, and I started to climb the corporate ladder, and you know, I got to the highest position I could, and guess what I found out? When you climb the corporate ladder, you never get to the top because someone else owns the ladder. You ever figure that out? You will never get on top of someone else's ladder. So I thought, here's what I got to do. I got to start my own business. If I start my own ladder, then I'll be able to get on top, no problem. Well, I'm here to tell you that 95% of all the things that I tried failed. Now, don't look at me like that. How many of you failed at something before? Lift up your hand nice and high. We're going to pray for the liars at the end of the service. You've all failed at something. Come on now. Except there was one thing: I just didn't quit. See, you're never a failure if you fail. You're a failure if you don't try again. And so I started several companies, and most of them failed, but I finally got involved in this network marketing company, similar to the ones that you're in right here, of course, with Charlie and Alta and Eagle Team. And I got involved, and it's quite a funny story how I got involved. I was actually in Acapulco, Mexico on vacation, and I met a gentleman there that started to tell me about this opportunity. And it's amazing where you're going to meet people. You need, let me just make this statement, and I'll teach on this more. It's people that build companies, not products. Now wait a minute. Now, I'm not saying anything wrong with products. There's some phenomenal products in this company. But you know what? Products don't know how to speak. They don't know how to tell how good they really are. They don't know how to tell people about opportunities. But we do. And so the key is people. People. I know you're in a business that has a lot of products, but I tell you what, the number one thing we need to master is people skills. 15% of your business will only be your product knowledge. 85% will be your people knowledge. You ever tried to build a business by yourself? It's real lonely. But to become successful, you better know how to deal with people. And we're going to be talking a lot about that over this weekend. I'm going to share with you about people. Well, so here I was, and this gentleman introduced me to this opportunity. And like most people, I was ready to walk away thinking, oh, it's just one of those deals, and nothing is ever really going to work. But one thing I found out, if you don't look at anything, how will you ever know it's not going to work? Huh? You guys are smart. You decided to check out the opportunity. Well, that's what I did. I checked out the opportunity. And I was living in Canada at the time, and this company was about to open up in Canada. And so there I was waiting in Canada for them to open up so I could get started. But now we had one big problem. The government kept giving us delay after delay after delay. And here I was all excited about this opportunity, and I didn't know what to do. So guess what I did? I invited a bunch of people over to a meeting in my house, and then I shared how great this opportunity was, and they got all excited, and they decided to join. Except we had no forms, no applications, no product, no company, no literature, no nothing. Well, this happened every week for about 3 or 4 months. Now I had about 120 people ready to join a company that didn't exist. Do you think excitement might have had something to do with it? Now listen carefully, because I'll teach as I go through my testimony. You cannot sell a dream you have never bought. Somebody write this down. You see, because if you've never bought the dream, when you tell someone else, there will never be true excitement. But when you've bought the dream of where this opportunity is going to take you, it will spill out when you open your mouth. Even if you can't spell everything right, and even if you can't remember everything right, and even if they can't remember how you explain the marketing plan, you know what? None of that's important. What's important? Are you excited? Do you have enthusiasm? One day I was going into this company, and I saw this sign right over the receptionist's desk, and it said, if you are not fired with enthusiasm, you will be fired with enthusiasm. See, it's time to get excited, because excitement is such that when you get excited, you start to burn with excitement. People will come and watch you burn. Can you get excited? How many of you can get excited about the products that you have? Can anybody get excited about the products? Now, that is wonderful, and you know when you share that with someone, they will get excited about the products that you're excited about. But how many of you can get excited about the opportunity? See, now when you share the opportunity, you've got to share it with such excitement that they're even more excited about the opportunity. You say, how do I do that, Nassir? Well, it's not that difficult. What you got to do is just tell people why you joined. Yeah, well, let me tell you about my upline. Let me tell you about my diamond. Let me tell you about my ruby. No. They're not interested in all that. Why don't you tell them why you joined? See, if you never forget why you joined, if you keep that fresh in front of you, if you write it down, what does that book say? Write the vision down, make it plain, so that those that read it will run. That's a good book. You ever notice that visions are transferred? But they have to be written to be transferred. Why? Because if your vision of where you want to go doesn't affect the people will not affect the vision. You cannot build a successful business by yourself. You're going to need some people. Am I right? Can I hear just one yes? Yes! All right. Then you better transmit the vision of where you're planning to go in a manner that is inspirational, that is exciting, so that it causes them to want to join you. Can you see that? Because if you're not excited about your vision of where you're going, how are they going to be excited about where you're going? So now I'm going back to my story. So I got excited. I joined this company, and within about 4 months, before we even had any literature, we had about 100 people ready to get started. How is that? That's totally impossible. No. When you say it's impossible, you know somebody's going to do it, right? Total excitement. Is excitement important to your business? It certainly is. You know, I'll never buy a product from someone who's not excited about it. Ever notice that? This is a wonderful car. You really like it. I hope it starts. No, that ain't gonna cut it. You got to get excited, because excitement is transferable. Can you tell I'm excited about life? I absolutely love what I do. Every day I wake up, I look out the window and I said, this is the day my Lord has made. I choose to rejoice and get excited. Yeah, but what if things are not going well around you? Well, I'm not moved by what I see. I'm going to be moved by what I believe, and I believe I'm a winner. Are there any winners in the room? All right, when you look in the mirror, you say, I see me a winner, and I'm going to win no matter what. I'm going to share a little bit about that in a few minutes. So where was I? Yeah, I got started in this company, and they finally did open up, and we got a bunch of people in, and we got started. And in about 15 months, I reached the highest position they had in this organization. And I was making, six figures, close to 7 figures. That's a lot of money. 7 figures is like millions, right? Yeah, million rand a year. You were making $1 million. No, I was making more than $1 million rand a year. But I wanted to tell you what we did in the first 15 months. By sheer excitement. Did I know what I was doing? No. I found out the more knowledge I got, the slower I went. Because you can't decide which way to do it. Shall I do it this way? Shall I do it this way? How about this way? How about this way? I went to a conference and they said do it this way, and then someone else did it that way. They had 7 speakers and each one had a different way to do it. Now I'm completely confused. Just get excited why you joined and go tell somebody. You know what I found out? People are the same all over the world. They all want to get out of debt. They all don't want to be in bondage. They all don't want to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever it is. They all don't want to work 40 hours a week, and they all don't want to spend 30 years for a watch. You know what I do when I need a watch? I go buy it. It's a lot easier than 30 years of your life. It really is. Yeah, I remember, I don't know which way this is going, but this is all right. I remember when I used to go into a restaurant. This is a true story. I used to go into a restaurant, and you know how you would decide what you were going to eat? What was on the right side of the menu. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You never went to the left side because you had to only see on the right side what it would cost. Then you could figure out if you could go on the left side. Now you know what I'm talking about. We're all there, right? You know, I finally decided that there's got to be a better way to live than that. There's got to be a better way than to struggle all of your life. And the more I got into that Bible, because I got a Bible after I gave my life to Jesus, and using the principles from the Word of God, I mean, I'm telling you, I just exploded in the business and reached the highest position and made a lot of money. And I'm going to share with you some of those principles over the next few days because I believe you want to become successful too. Am I right? I broke every single record that company ever had. In fact, I was already in my first, let me see, probably in my first 8 months, I had already made 700,000 rands. Is that pretty good? Is that okay? Yeah. Then I went on in the next year to make, about $1 million, just over $1 million rand in that second year. In the third year and the fourth year, I ended up making somewhere around 2.5 to 3 million rand a year. It's pretty good, huh? It's more than some people make in a lifetime. Now I'm going to share with you over the next 3 days, how did that happen? Let me just say this, success will never come as an accident. It won't. If you think one day you'll just trip over and you'll find the right person and that person will take you all the way to the top, it isn't going to happen. I found out you won't find the right person, you have to be the right person. You won't find the right person, you have to be the right person. In fact, I found out for things to change, I had to change. For things to get better, I had to get better. I had to develop different sets of habits. I had to develop some discipline in my life. I had to develop some skills on dealing with people. I had to learn how to build an army. When I figured out how to build an army, then I realized I had to learn how to move it. How many of you know moving an army is different than building it? How many of you have got some distributors that are not very active? See, it's okay to build an army, but you better learn how to move it. Amen. All right. Where was I? I was sharing some things with you. So then I became very successful in that company and moved on and did some great things as a consultant and started to consult with corporations in England and in America and in Canada. And ultimately now, my wife and I are teachers. We have a wisdom leadership training center, which was that building you saw at the end. And what we do is we train people to be success in business, in arts, in media. We train leaders because I believe it's time for us to rise up as leaders and take over planet Earth. Well, 3 people agree with me. We're planning to do that because we actually believe we can do it. You know, the mind will limit you. The mind will tell you you can't do it because you haven't done it in the past. Don't ever believe that. I found out that I could do all things. How many things? All things. He that's in me is greater, and I can do all things. Now, I was so dumb, so naive, when I read that in the good book, that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me, I actually believed it. Amen. Isn't that dumb? I said, Lord, if that's true, then I guess the Christians have already taken over planet Earth. He says, no, a lot of them can quote it, but very few believe it. I said, how do you know they don't believe it? He says, because if they believed they could do all things, they would attempt all things. I said, does that mean, Lord, I can still take over planet Earth? He said, go for it, son. I'm just looking for a few people that are going to think big. I'm looking for a few people that'll say, hey, I refuse to be mediocre. I refuse to be average for the rest of my life. I want to do something meaningful with my life. I've got goals and aspirations. You know what? I found this out, that the most successful people, how many of you heard of Bill Gates? Anyone ever heard of Bill Gates? You know what I found out about Bill Gates? He puts his trousers on the same way I do. You ever notice that? I mean, he's not any smarter than you are. He's not any better than you are. I noticed he got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, and a mouth. Just like you and me. He got a brain just like you and me. Well, wait a minute now. If he's not any different than you and me, how come he's one of the richest men on planet Earth? Listen to me now. Leaders are built, they're not born. Leadership is a series of habits that can be acquired. It is not, oh, so-and-so's a leader, that's just the way they were born. I tell you what, you should have seen Bill Gates before he was successful. He was the least likely to succeed. He took his idea and his concept to IBM, and they turned him down and said it'll never work. How many of you think he might have found an idea that worked? You think IBM's kicking themselves now, huh? We should have bought Bill Gates out when it was $800,000 to buy his company. No, he was average like you and I, but you know what? He chose not to be average. Don't let the world tell you you're average. You're very, very special. In fact, I'm here to tell you something. I wrote it down in here. I was on the plane. I was coming on the plane thinking, what am I going to share on the first night? And I really sense in my heart to tell you that I've got good news for you tonight. You have already won the first race. You didn't even have to rehearse for this one. In fact, winning was in you before anything else. God sees you as a winner. You say, Nassir, I've already won the first race. Yeah, you sure did. Now, I need to explain this because you're probably wondering, what race did I win? Well, there were approximately 250 million sperm. And one of them started swimming faster than the rest. And in spite of the tide, in spite of all the opposition, one sperm made it. Guess who that is? That's you, and 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 you. You are very special. Can you imagine you won out of 250 million? Can you get excited about this? You started out as a winner, my friends. Don't die a loser. You didn't quit, so why quit now? Your past is simply a rehearsal for your future. So don't waste all the rehearsals. Now is the time for us to go forward. You haven't been practicing to lose. You've been practicing to win. You are born a winner. You are supposed to win. When you were created by the creator of 400 billion galaxies growing at the rate of 186,000 miles a second, he created you to win, to dominate, to have rulership, to rise up and achieve all that he put inside of you. When he created you, he made you in his very own image, crowned you with his glory, and said, now go, have a ball, rule and reign. That's exactly right, my friends. You are created a winner, and you need to know that. You need to know that there's nothing you can't do if you won't set your mind to it. You need to know that you can make it in this business, and you can make it if you will learn the right series of habits. You've got to know that the brain that God has given you, you probably have tapped into about 5 or 8%. There's a whole bunch more. You've got to look at people like, well, I tell you what, Charlie is a perfect example. Charlie's right there. I mean, isn't Charlie a wonderful man? Now, listen to me. Now, Charlie, I love you, my brother. I really do. But you are not a whole lot more special than these guys. You don't have a brain 10 times bigger than these guys. Am I right? Yes. Well, I mean, if Charlie can do it, is there hope for you and I? Yes. Now, I'm not saying anything against Charlie because he's a wonderful man. But the reason I'm telling you is too long we have looked at people and said they could do it because they were born on the right side of the street. They could do it because they were in another country. They could do it because they had the right people. They could. No. Stop thinking that way. The key to your success is you. And until you come to that realization, you will always look up at other people and say, whoa, I wish I was like them. No. You don't want to be like them. You want to be like you. You've got a winner sitting inside of you. You've got all the potential sitting inside of you. But you've got to look in the mirror and say, I'm going to be the very best that I know how to be. And when I do that, I will succeed and I will win in everything I put my hand to. You say, boy, you really sound like you know what you're talking. I know. Listen, I came from the wrong side of the street. I was brought up with all this negativity. I never thought I could make it. And I had to change a bunch of garbage, and I had to start to see myself as a winner. I had to see myself as someone that could do anything I put my hand to. You know, I like to put it this way. We need to promote externally and compete internally. Oh, some of you will get that on the way home. That means when you find another distributor, build them up. But when you look at your past performance, improve on it. Who are you competing with? Yourself. Sometimes we go to conferences like this and we see several people being promoted and recognized and we say, oh, I wish that was me. One day, please, God, help me. I hope it's me one day. No. You already got all that you need to win on the inside of you. When you see someone being promoted and going to higher positions, don't be in so much awe that you think you can't do it. When you see that happen, say, next. Get excited. They did not put on their trousers any different than you. And if they can do it, you can do it. And if they got a dress on, that's good. I hope they're female. Can you get excited about something? Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to have a lot of fun this weekend. Are you going to have a lot of fun this weekend? Yes. I want to share with you some things that I wrote down. You'll find out that there is much in the Bible about building successful businesses. In fact, Jesus and the disciples were all business people. There was one scripture that I was reading the other day, and it says, remember the Lord your God, for it is God that gives you the power to get wealth, so he can establish his covenant. I found out that word power is a Hebrew word that means abilities and principles. God will give you the ability to get wealth. God will give you the ability to prosper. He wants to see you prosper in every area of your life. Why? He made you a winner. Do not let anyone tell you different. In fact, the law, I read this also, it was called the law of belief or the law of faith. And the law of faith went like this. It says, faith or belief comes by hearing. Now listen. There are principles in this. If belief comes by hearing, then what I believe has been established by what I've been hearing. So, therefore, I ought to protect very closely what I'm hearing, or it will affect what I believe. Can you see that? That's why when you get around negative people, don't walk away. Run! There is absolutely nothing they can do to help you. You don't want to be like them anyway. In fact, if you come and talk to me in one of the breaks and you tell me everything negative in your life, I'm going to run. I got enough problems. I don't need to hear yours. In fact, when you tell people around you your problems, don't be surprised if they run. Huh? So I was telling you the law of belief. You see, you won't believe you're a winner until you start hearing the right things. It'll change what you believe. That's why you got to be careful about your children. Stop telling them they can't and start telling them they can. Stop telling them that, our family never achieved anything, and start telling them that you are a winner. You can do anything you set your mind to. In fact, don't read negative stuff. Don't watch television. There's not a whole lot good on television these days anyway. Take that same time, go get some tapes, listen to them. Why? Because your belief is determined by what you hear. So get the right stuff. I'll share some tapes and stuff with you at the end, so you'll be able to go. They refused to put our tapes out until after I got to speak. I said, why is that? Maybe no one will buy some? They said, no, we haven't told them you're coming. I said, you haven't told them I'm coming? It's a big secret. Now I know why it's a big secret. He really couldn't pronounce my name, right? No. No, he didn't want to tell everybody I was coming, which is good, because this is going to be a real treat. We're going to learn some things about habits, success habits, about principles that produce wealth. Are you ready? In fact, I got some other things I want to share with you. One of them is dreams. I feel like I want to talk to you a little bit about dreams. It's okay to dream. For some reason, we've been beat down since we were kids going to school and becoming teenagers and going into the workforce, that we finally think that it's okay to get a little bit ahead, but no one will ever get really ahead. No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Every person that is successful today started out sitting in the seat where you are right now. But they started out with a dream. The more I read in the Bible, the more I realized that God wants us to dream. He expects us to dream. Until you see it in your mind, well, let me show you this. This building that we're sitting in, how did this building get built? You ever wonder that? Let me tell you, this building was built 3 times. 3 times? Nassir doesn't look like it was built 3 times. Yeah, it was built 3 times. You know when it was built the first time? Here. Somebody dreamed it. You know when it was built the second time? On paper. Somebody wrote it out. Somebody drew out the plans. And then what you see here was when it was built the 3rd time. But let me ask you a question. Could it have been built the 3rd time had it never been built the 1st time? Isn't that interesting? So until you build a dream here, it will never happen around you. Remember, success is not an accident. It won't just happen. First thing you got to do is build a dream. You know, George was sharing with us a few minutes ago. I believe it's okay to call you George. I hope he's still there. Is it all right to call you George? George was saying something that was very, very profound. He said, where will you be 5 years from now? You ever thought about that? How many of you thought about where you would be 5 years from now? How many of you not only thought about it, but written down in detail of where you would be 5 years from now? I'm not just talking about I will be rich. No. I want to know what house you'll be living in. I want to know how many bedrooms there are. I want to know how many bathrooms there are. I may just come and visit. I want to know what car you'll be driving. I want to know where you'll be living. I want to know what your children will be doing. I want to know the details. Why? If this building was not built in detail, how could we sit in it today? When he built it here, he built it specifically in detail. Start to dream again. Where will you be 5 years from now? Where will your kids be? Where will you be living? What will you be driving? Oh, I'll just live in a bigger house. Describe it to me. Where will it be? You know, my wife and I, we came to South Africa for the first time in March. And the first place we went to was Cape Town. We were invited to speak at a conference in Cape Town. And on the second day, is there anybody from Cape Town here? Well, on the second day, my wife was already driving up the mountain looking for the land to build the house. I mean, she fell in love with Cape Town. She thought it was the most beautiful place in the whole world. Am I right? Of course, she hadn't been anywhere else at that time, so that's excusable. No. She doesn't get out much. No, I'm kidding. But you know what? Cape Town was gorgeous. You got the mountains all around you. And then you got two oceans in front of you. I mean, the sunset was so pretty. Sunrise, it was gorgeous. We already picked out the land where we're going to build a home. But you live in America. So? Yeah, but you can't work here. So? But where are you going to get the money? My dad. You actually believe you can do that? Why not? Why not? I'm tired of limitations. Take the limits off. You've put your mind in a box. Open the box. I was broke. I was struggling. I was trying to get a job. I realized I had to take the limits off my box. I had to start to dream big. See, you'll never achieve more than you'll dream. Never. You got to believe before you can conceive. You've got to believe before you can conceive. Start to dream. Why? Why, Nassir? Why are you on this dream thing all the time? Why are you on this vision thing all the time? Why are you telling us we've got to write it down? Well, let me tell you why. The most important word you will learn is a word called motivation. Why do they pick certain speakers? There was a young lady that spoke here from Italy. I believe her name was Anna Marie. Did you enjoy Anna Marie? Wasn't she wonderful? Why did they pick Anna Marie? Charlie could have picked many other people. Why did he pick her? Because she can inspire us. She can motivate us. Am I right? Yes. Why George? George can motivate us, inspire us. Now listen, the reason that we need people like Anna Marie and George and Charlie to inspire us, listen to me, I'm giving you a key, wisdom key now. The reason they bring speakers like that here to inspire us is because we haven't learned yet how to inspire ourselves. Write that down, someone. You see, when you learn to inspire yourself, you will start to do a whole lot more. Why? Because you'll be motivated. You'll be excited. And when you start to do a whole lot more because you've learned to self-motivate, you will soon be asked to motivate others. You see, until you can motivate yourself, who are you going to motivate? Well, I got this team, and there's at least 25 of them, and 22 are doing nothing. They're looking for a motivator, and you ain't it. I told you, you better learn to motivate. And the first person you need to learn to motivate is who? Everybody say, me. Because if you can't motivate yourself, how are you going to motivate someone else? So now we need to learn, how do we motivate ourselves? Is that a good question? Write down your dream. Make it plain so that when you read it, you won't sit, you won't stand, you won't walk, but you'll run. Can you see how that's a principle from the Bible that we need to apply? Why? Because when you write it down, your goals, your vision, your dream, where you're going to be, and you stick it on your refrigerator, you stick it in your bathroom, you stick it in the bedroom, everywhere you are, it's on the dashboard of your car. Every time you read it, you get excited. You see, it's not important where you came from. It's not important where you are. What's important is where you're going. And it will remind you every time. Why is it so important to know where I'm going? It will inspire you. It'll motivate you. It'll get you up in the morning. It'll get you working. It'll get you to pick up the heaviest thing in your house. You know what that is? The telephone. I don't want to call anybody. I'll call them after breakfast. Oh, well, actually, I'll call after lunch. No, I'll call tonight. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You all been there. Until you're motivated, that phone will be the heaviest thing in your house. Because you ain't calling anyone to sponsor them. You ain't calling anybody to tell them. Am I right? Come on now, I lived on your street. I've been there. I know what it's like. It wasn't so long ago. And I realized the one person I needed to learn to motivate was me. I needed to learn to motivate me. And so I would spend a lot of time dreaming. It's okay to dream, but then write it down. Be specific. If money wasn't an object, where would you live? What kind of house would you live in? What kind of furniture would you have? What color would you paint those walls? Would you have a one-car garage, two-car garage, three-car garage, or more? Would you have what kind of car would be in the garage? You say, Nassir, you're just trying to get us to dream. Yes! But how do I know it'll ever happen? I promise you it'll never happen until you start dreaming. See, until you take the first step, it'll never happen. Yeah, but that's so big. Listen, until you shoot for the stars, you won't hit the moon. You better start shooting big. You know, I love to see all these people with the pins. You know, all these people in the front row, all these people got pins. They're wonderful. Don't you wish you had one of those pins? How many of you wish you had the pins that these guys have got? All they did was talk to more people. Is that so hard? Huh? How did they talk to more people? They got motivated. How did they get motivated? They kept their dream before them. A car can't go very far when it runs out of gas. No, not gas. Sorry. Petrol. You need petrol. So every time you got to go to the petrol station and get more petrol. Otherwise, you could have the greatest car in the world, but it ain't going to get you anywhere. Well, you and I need petrol. Why? Because life will cause you to be defeated. I have never, ever met anyone that became a success like this. No. Everyone that became a success, it was like this. Problems, overcome. Problems. Is there anyone in here that's had some problems in this business? See? But you're still here. You're still here. What motivates you when it's going down like this? Huh? Your dream. Your dream. Where will your kids go to school? The Bible says we ought to leave an inheritance to our children's children. That means you ought to make enough money that you can handle it, your kids can handle it, and there's a little left over for your grandkids. Am I right? That's what it says. Well, why would God tell us to do that and not make it possible? Huh? You know, you think you're going through adversity. My friends, no. You're not going through adversity. You're going through adversity when your brothers throw you in a pit and then decide to kill you. And they think they can make more money by selling you as a slave. And so there you are as a slave working in a master's house, doing the best job you know how, and the mistress of the house decides that she wants you to go to bed with her, and you say, no thank you, and they throw you into jail. You're doing the best you can in jail. You meet a couple of guys that have had dreams. You give them the revelation of their dream, and they say they'll work to get you out, and they forget you the moment they leave the prison. Has that happened to any of you lately? But Joseph was a winner. Joseph had a dream. And Joseph wasn't going to let go of his dream. And his dream continued to motivate him everywhere he went. And whatever he put his hand to, he was successful. He was prosperous. But he was in jail. But he was the best one in jail. And he became the second highest man in the entire nation. Don't let go of your dream. It will self-motivate you. And when it self-motivates you, then you'll be able to help others to get motivated. Until they're motivated, they won't run. All right? Let me share with you. I don't know what time it is. What time am I supposed to finish? Anybody know? Never? All right. Now, Charlie said that breakfast is served about 5 a.m. Am I right, Charlie? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You'll be able to get some sleep. I don't know where we are in this. All right. I'll share some more about this, but write this down. Success is 10% how, 90% why. I know a lot of people that became successful and were distributors just like you. They just didn't know a lot of the hows, but they had a great reason to do it. They were struggling. They came from poor families. They never had a chance. They never had an opportunity. They were told they couldn't make it. They had no option but to make it. You know that story about the nation of Israel that was in slavery? And finally, Moses led them out of slavery. And Moses brings them to the Red Sea. And things didn't look really bad until the nation of Israel looked behind them. And you know what they saw? They saw the Egyptians with the chariots ready to destroy them. Now they started moaning and complaining. Moses, we were better off in slavery. You know what slavery I'm talking about? It's a 9-to-5 job for 35 years. You know what I'm talking about? We were better off in slavery. You took us out. You showed us, Charlie, this opportunity, and we got excited, and we started to leave the land of slavery. We started to leave that bondage, and here we are right at the sea. Look where you brought us. We're going to die in the desert. Look at the problem. I recruited somebody, I sponsored them, and they're doing nothing. I went over to someone's house, did a whole presentation, and they didn't join. This stuff don't work. Moses said, look behind you. And they turned. And there they saw the army of Egypt, the chariots coming down on them. There was no going back, only going forward. Didn't matter what the obstacle was, they had to go forward. There comes a point in your life where you have a look at this opportunity and you say, there is zero option. I'm going to make it no matter what. You cannot stop a made-up mind. Somebody write that down. You cannot stop a made-up mind. The reason you haven't made it yet is because you haven't made up your mind yet. I don't know, how much time have we got? They won't wave to me. 5, 10, do something. I don't know. All right, we'll keep going. You want to keep going? All right, we'll keep going. All right. I want to share with you that over the next 3 days, I'm going to teach you how to communicate a vision. You know how you sponsor people? By communicating a vision. No, it's how I explain the marketing plan. No, it isn't. How many of you have explained the marketing plan to people that didn't join? So obviously that didn't work, did it? Huh? How many of you explained the products to people that didn't join and didn't become distributors? Huh? So obviously that didn't work. So what is it that I need to share with someone that'll get them excited? Answer, communicate a vision. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about that. I'm going to teach you a little bit about people skills. How do you develop people skills? How do you motivate an army of people? I'm going to teach you a little bit about attitude that determines your altitude. I'm going to teach you how to make people feel special. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about that. It's important to know where you're at. The theme is free enterprise. Free enterprise. Everybody say free, enterprise. You ever wonder what that means? I was back there behind the curtain and thinking, Lord, what does it mean, free enterprise? It simply means you don't have to stay where you're at. Too many people today choose to stay where they're at. You don't have to. You can change it. Well, what about my parents never did anything? Who cares? You can change that. Yeah, but we came from a really poor village. Who cares? You can change that. It's all here. When you believe you won't make it, you won't. When you believe you can't do it, you can't. Until you open up your mind and say, no, there's more. And the ones that are making it are no different than me. If they can do it, I can do it. You know, one formula for success is just stick around long enough until it happens. Too many people quit too soon. No, don't do that. You are not a quitter. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm not a quitter. Turn to the other neighbor and say, you're not a quitter either. We have a lot of tapes that we've brought with us, about 40 different albums. In fact, there are some tapes. Charlie, could I have somebody just pass me the tapes? They're sitting, I left them on the table. I want to tell you a little bit about our tapes before we close. This is a book called Kingdom Principles of Financial Increase. How many of you want to increase financially? All right, everybody in the room. Now I've got good news and bad news. I teach this in a biblical economics course at the American Bible College and Seminary. Please stand right there. This is my assistant. Isn't he a good-looking assistant? 3 people think you are. Did you pay them? No.
All of them.
You paid all of them, all right. Now, the bad news is we have no books because we were not able to print them here in South Africa fast enough. We have them all in America. The good news is you can still order the book and we will mail it to you as soon as we get back, all right? So you can order this book. Now in there, I'm warning you now, in there are not only principles of success, but you will find many scripture references that'll tell you where we got the principles from. Is that all right? All right. You'll see that in the book. It's important. See, I don't want to. Oh, yeah. They'll give you a little form like this to fill out for your book, and you can order it, and then we will be happy to send it to you. We've been teaching business principles, and I shared with you one man had an 1,800% growth in his business. These are volume 1 and 2 of Wisdom Principles for Business. Get a hold of these, and you can apply them in your business. I like this one. My wife, who's an excellent teacher, you'll hear from her in the morning, she did a teaching on hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit. Did you know most people make decisions, they run to God and ask God to bless them? You know what God says? If you'd run to me first, it would already be blessed. You are one, listen to me now, you are one voice away from success. Learn what that voice is. Excellence. There are businesses, Fortune 500 companies all over America getting hold of this teaching. Flowing in the spirit of excellence. The whole world is looking for excellence, and you got the spirit of excellence inside of you. Learn how to be excellent in your business and in everything that you do. One thing I found out about excellence, you will be part of the minority. The world will come looking for you. Oh, here's a good one. Prayer that moves angels. Did you know you can pray out your business? Did you know that the angels are your greatest distributor force? Did you know they can lead you to the right people at the right time? Did you know you can have divine appointments? Did you know you can go do far less appointments and sign up better quality people if you would simply learn to pray it out first? Prayer that moves angels. Last but not least, oh, I love this one, favor with God and man. How many of you would like to get favor with every person you come into contact with? I tell you what, I use this teaching, and I got how would you calculate that, 1.5? I got a $10 million rand building for less than 1 million rand. Is that favor? Well, that favor is for all of us. Learn how to get favor with God and man. And last but not least, how many of you remember Miles Monroe? All right, Miles invited me to teach at his church in Nassau, the Bahamas, something called leadership. Now, you know he teaches on leadership. And if he invited me to go over there and teach on leadership, there's got to be something in here. How many of you are called to be leaders? All right, learn the principles of leadership. Of course, the first principle is leadership is defined as influence. They are going to open that tape table up in a few minutes as soon as I finish. Then I encourage you to go down there and get it. Tomorrow morning, my wife is going to teach on how nutrition has changed her life. You do not want to miss that. And then I'm going to pick up where we left off. I want to close off by saying this. If it took you 10 years to achieve your financial dreams, would it be worth it? If it took you 10 years to drive the car or the cars of your dreams, would it be worth it? If it took you 10 years to get the home of your dreams, would it be worth it? If it took you 10 years to fulfill what you wanted to fulfill in 5 years, would it still be worth it? It took me less than 5 years to achieve all my dreams. But if it took me 10, would it still have been worth it? And if I had quit along the way because of the obstacles and the problems, I would never have made it. I don't know what problems you're facing. I don't know what obstacles you're facing right now. But I'm here to tell you, if you'll hang in there, you'll come through. It came to pass. It didn't come to stay. My friends, let me close with this. Some people look at things the way they are, and they say, why? I looked at things the way they could be and said, why not? Why not you And why not now? Thank you.